As is becoming the norm in recent times, persons arrested for having in their possession minute quantities of marijuana are sentenced to considerable jail time. This has been evidenced in several cases, attracting the attention of the courts as of late. A more recent incident is one in which a 25-year-old Amerindian farmer of Monkey Mountain was jailed for 3 years for the possession of 18 grams of cannabis for the purpose of trafficking. That's just 0.63 of an ounce of cannabis. Strangely, on the day of his arrest, the police were summoned to the location after the said man was allegedly behaving disorderly. The police later found the drugs on his person during a search at the police station. The man pled guilty to the offense and explained that he plans it as a means to secure additional income. Nightly News invited comments from Mr. Mike McCormick of the Ghana Human Rights Association to begin a national conversation on the issue, and he explained why he thinks it is bordering on injustice.
Reinforces a trend that's of sentences which are very unstable, if that's the word. They're certainly not consistent. And the idea of putting an Amerindian farmer in prison because he voluntarily acknowledged that he had this, that the marijuana they found on him was his, and yes, if he could have sold it a little, he would have done, and so on. That level of simplicity, to my mind, does not warrant 3 years in prison.
According to Mr. McCormick, it is a troubling trend, especially since no major trafficker of cocaine has been charged or convicted for the offense, notwithstanding that it is now public knowledge they exist.
Particularly when you compare that with the scale of trafficking in cocaine, the number of people who have made fortunes through cocaine here. Not one single major trafficker has ever been convicted. But in terms of people who live here and traffic, you never see the major figures hauled before the.
Mr. McCormick added that while a magistrate may be able to defend his or her actions, the fact remains that in some instances, leniency must be explored as a first option. He observed that in this case, the young man was not caught attempting to traffic, and had he been the wiser, things may have been different.
And in the course of this, it comes out that he'd grown that himself, and he was simple enough to acknowledge it all. Had he been here in Georgetown or more alert to the ways of the court, he would have denied everything, and trafficking would have been very difficult to prove.
Mr. McCormick posited that the young man's acceptance of the trafficking charge resulted from his oblivion to the technicalities of the more rural court systems. To this end, he offered the following recommendation.
The magistrates need to start being more realistic and sensible in the way they are applying the law. The judicial system itself needs they need a policy on sentencing. We need a consistent policy that everyone involved knows what to expect.
The Ghana Human Rights Association had further expressed that customarily, it's the poorer class of people who often end up behind bars after being caught in this situation. According to Mr. McCormick, the system for sentencing for drug offences need a major overhaul, given the fact that at times the police are responsible for planting the very drugs. For HGP Nightly News, Kingsley Bryan.